Brezilya'da Amazon ormanlarında yaşanan bir uçak kazası. Uçak kazasında 36 gün boyunca Amazon ormanlarında hayatta kalma mücadelesi veren bir pilot. Antonio Senna, Cessna 210 tipi uçağıyla bir kargo taşıyordu. Uçağın motoru arızalandı. Uçak palmiye ağaçlarının üzerine sert bir iniş yaptı. Ancak pilot hayatta kalmayı başarmıştı. Uçak kazasından sonra da 36 gün boyunca yapayalnız kaldığı ormanda büyük bir mücadele örneği verdi. İşte o pilot Antonio Senna ile bir röportaj gerçekleştirdim. O röportajın az sonra detaylarını sizlere aktaracağım. Evet, Antonio Senna'nın mucize kurtuluş öyküsünü bu videoda bulacaksınız. Nasıl hayatta kaldı, nelerle beslendi, nerede yattı, vahşi hayvanlardan nasıl kendini korudu. İşte bunun ayrıntılarını bu röportajda bulacaksınız. Hazırsanız Antonio Senna ile yaptığım röportaja başlayalım.
On that day, I was performing a flight that should be around 1 hour and 5 minutes flight time. It was a cargo flight. I was alone in the plane. The aircraft was a Cessna 210, which is a single engine aircraft. Everything was happening fine. I took off, climbed to cruise level. I was flying at 3,000 feet. A little bit more of halfway, 40 minutes of flight, the engine suddenly stopped. Well, I have a big background on aviation. I already flew 2,400 hours on bigger aircrafts, and I have training and preparation for this kind of situation, especially on simulator hours. Immediately after the engine failure, you just need to keep calm. Keep calm. This is your mantra. You have to be your motto. So after that, you have to identify the failure. So I looked up to my instruments and I checked that I have no fuel flow running into the engine. Of course, I tried to relight the engine twice, one on each fuel tank. It doesn't work. And after that, I just focused myself on flight aircraft to control airspeed and rate of descent, and immediately look for the best spot for this forced landing. Thanks for all this training, all this preparation. I managed myself I saw a small valley to my left. I start to prepare a final approach, just gliding the aircraft to that place. And I choose that place because I saw many of palm trees on, and because of my experience flying over Amazon, I knew that the palm trees will give me a better spot for landing. If not kind of a soft trees in comparison with all the trees that we have in Amazon. Thanks to God, I was able to perform this forced landing, escape the aircraft with no big injuries, with nothing broken, not a leg, not an arm. It was for sure a big part of my survival. If I had just a big injury, let's say, I'll probably not be here today. I'll probably not made all these days in the jungle.
Uçak düştükten sonra Antonio Senna yara almadan kurtuldu. Şans eseri. Belki yara alsa bugün hayatta olmayabilirdi. Kendisi de bu ifadeleri kullanmıştı. Uçağın kargosunda yakıt vardı ve uçak alev alabilirdi. İşte bu sebeple Antonio Senna'nın bir an önce uçağın enkazından çıkması gerekiyordu.
Immediately after the forced landing, I knew my situation. I knew that I was in one of the most dense inhabited locations in Amazon. I know how difficult and how dangerous the situation was. I lost friends, aviator friends on the same situation flying over Amazon. Just after the crash, I opened my eyes and I realized that I have to leave the aircraft. All I could smell was fuel, diesel. That it was among my cargo and aviation fuel that was leaking from the fuel tanks. And I knew I have to leave that place immediately. So I just managed myself to leave the aircraft and look for anything that could help me to spend a few days in the jungle. At that moment, I was imagining that I will spend around 5 or 8 days in the jungle, which is the number of days that usually search and rescue team use or try to find someone over Amazon. After the 80th day, if you have no clues of where is it, they stop the search. So for me, I will spend around 5 and 8 days. So I just get my backpack. Inside my backpack, I had 2 lighters, one flashlight, one pocket knife, and one multi-tool knife. I got 3 bottles of water from the aircraft, one bag with 10 breads, one rope, one bag of construction bags. And this is all I got to spend these days in the forest. I just got all this stuff and leave the aircraft and go far away from the aircraft because I knew the probability of fire was really big. Exactly as I thought, around 10 minutes after I left the aircraft, it starts to fire and I could hear the explosions and big columns of black smoke.
Antonio Senna uçak enkazından kurtulduktan sonra tepe noktasında gözüne bir yer kestirdi ve o noktaya doğru yürüdü. Kazanın şokuyla birlikte biraz sakinleşmeye ihtiyacı vardı ve o zirveye tırmandıktan sonra motivasyonunu o noktada sağlamayı başardı. Hayatta kalmaya karar vermişti.
To keep strong and to understand that I'll have to fight for my life from that moment on.
Antonio Senna hayatta kalma konusunda eğitimliydi. Kazadan önce bunun eğitimini almıştı. Aldığı eğitimlerin bir gün bu kadar işine yarayacağını eğitimleri aldığı sırada fark etti mi bilmiyorum. Ama o aldığı eğitimler sayesinde Antonio Senna hayatta kalmayı başarabilecekti. Ancak işi hiç de kolay değildi. Antonio Senna nasıl ateş yakılacağından, nasıl konaklanacağına kadar her şeyi o eğitimlerde almıştı.
To stay alive on that situation, I had to be mentally strong, really mentally strong, because it is so hard to cope with the night, with the darkness in the forest. I start to remember all the lessons I got on my jungle survival training, how to deal and to manage all the supplements I have, like water, food, with the breads I have, and to understand where I was, to make fire, to make a shelter, because I know that all these things would be really important for my survival.
Antonio Senna kazanın olduğu andan itibaren 7 gün boyunca kaza bölgesinden ayrılmadı. Çünkü arama kurtarma ekiplerinin 7 gün boyunca aramayı sürdüreceğini ve sonrasında ise aramaların noktalanacağını biliyordu. 7. günün sonunda artık arama kurtarma umutları tükenmiş ve kendi başının çaresine bakmasının zorunlu olduğunun farkına varmıştı. Bunun için kendine bir plan yapması ve enerjisini olabildiğince ekonomi kullanması gerekiyordu.
Everything is wet and humid. It's really hard to make fire. So I have to create a process to select the wood, to create the fire in a better way, in a faster way, because I knew I have to save energy as well. I could not spend energy with.
Antonio Sena'nın umutlarının bir an olsun yeşermesine neden olan bir ses duyuldu o gün. Gökyüzünde bir uçak uçuyordu. Büyük olasılıkla o uçak arama kurtarma uçağıydı. Ancak uçak uzun süre gökyüzünde tur attıktan sonra Antonio Sena'yı fark etmeden geri döndü. O andan itibaren Antonio Sena'nın kurtarılmaya dair bütün umutları da yok oldu. İşte o gün bir video çekerek ailesine veda etmeyi planladı.
And I could hear them since the day number one. I could hear the aircrafts flying far from me. I knew they were far from where I was. And I know their procedures. And I know they do like a scanning flights over the route. Let's say you have the route here and they start to fly like scanning 5 or 10 miles for each side of the route, looking for a spot or the crash site. On the 5th day, they flew exactly over me. I could see the aircraft. I could see they flying over me. I get everything I got. I grabbed the construction bags and I waved to them to try to call for their attention. And I tried to make fire, but there was a really cloudy day. I could see them flying and going farther and farther every time. So I knew that they haven't seen me. I knew that my chance to be rescued out of that place, it was gone at that moment. And that day, it's a very special day because on that day, I tried to go into the jungle for the first time. They flew over me, it was around 10 and a half a.m. Around 2 p.m., I got my stuff and tried to go into the jungle to walk because I knew that I would not be rescued by them. I got all my stuff and trying to go into the jungle, heading to the south. That was from where I come from. To where I come from. I spent around 40 minutes fighting against the jungle. It was a really dense part of the jungle with a lot of vines and insects. I tried so hard to go through, but after 40 minutes of fight, I realized I couldn't do it. I have no tools for that. So I came back to my shelter, completely disappointed, feeling lost. At that moment, it was the first time I thought I could die there. I could not see my family again. It was a really hard moment for me. So I recorded a video, a goodbye video on my cell phone to my family, with the hope that maybe someday someone found those records and give that video to my family.
Genç pilotun yanında sadece elektronik olarak bir cep telefonu vardı. Cep telefonunun ise henüz şarjı bitmemişti. Cep telefonundaki GPS'i kullanarak bölgesinde neler olduğunu görmek istedi ve baktığında en yakın köyün kendisinden 300 kilometre ötede olduğunu fark etti. Buna rağmen yürümeye karar verdi. Ancak yönünü kaybetmemek için bir plan yaptı. Buna göre güneşi tam karşısına alarak yürüyecekti. Güneşe doğru yürüdüğü için sabah erkenden yola çıkacak ve güneş doğudan doğduğu için güneşe doğru, yani doğuya doğru yürüyecekti.
After this, I spent the 60th and the 70th day planning how to leave that place. I had the aeronautical charge on my cell phone, and my cell phone is still have battery on that day. I also had GPS signal in my cell phone. So I knew where I was and what I have around me. The closest city was around 300 kilometers far from me. But checking it on the aeronautical charge, I could see that I have the possibility to find 3 airstrips to the east. As well to the east, I have the biggest river on the region, the Paru River. And I could see as well a mark of a small town, maybe a village close to this river. So I decided that I have to go to east. But I have no compass. How I'm gonna do to know uh, my directions? What I'm gonna use as a reference? I use the sun because the sun always rise on the east. So my plan was to wake up and walk in facing the sun during the whole morning. But in the morning, I have to walk to the sun until around midday or 1 p.m. because at this moment the sun will be exactly over me, so I could not use it as a reference anymore. After the walk during the morning, my plan was to use the all the afternoon to prepare myself for the night. So from 1 to 2 p.m., I have to find the place where I'm gonna build my shelter. After that, I have to until 5 p.m. to build my shelter. And from 5 to 7, which was the time where I'm losing the natural light, to look for wood and prepare fire. And this was my day, every day during the next 30 days.
Uçağın düştüğü mevsim Amazon ormanları için yağmur mevsimiydi. Ve belki de genç pilotun en az zorlandığı şey su bulmaktı. Çünkü su konusunda herhangi bir sıkıntı yoktu. Ancak suyun neden olduğu kayganlık yürümesini güçleştiriyordu. Dağları ve tepeleri aşmak zorunda olan Antonio Senna bunu başarmakta zaman zaman güçlük çekiyordu.
And to get water over the Amazon, it wasn't so hard because we were during the rainy season and I could find every time small curses of water, running water coming down from the hills. Because that's another thing. Sometimes people imagine that the Amazon is a big flat terrain, which is not. It's a lot of hills and valleys. Every day I used to climb 2 or 3 hills at least. Some of them with 1,500 feet. And it was so hard. You have to spend a lot of energy doing that. And the ground, it was so slippery, you know? It's so hard to walk, to climb. It was really hard days.
Brezilyalı pilot Antonio Senna Amazon'u çok iyi tanıyordu. Amazon'da yaşayan vahşi hayvanları biliyordu. Anakondalar, jaguarlar ve timsahlar en çok korktuğu ve en çok karşılaşma olasılığı bulunan vahşi hayvanlardı. Bunlardan korunmak için bazı taktikleri kullandı. Vahşi hayvanlar kadar hayatta kalmak için başka önemli kriterler de vardı. Onlardan birisi ise küçük bir çakmaktı. Antonio Senna o çakmak olmasa belki de bugün yaşamıyordum diyor.
Because I had a plan. I'm from Amazon. I'm born and grew in Amazon, and I'm proud of it. And the acknowledgement that I learned during my whole life was so important for me. And one of these acknowledgement was that I knew that the big predators of Amazon is the alligators, anacondas, and jaguars. And these 3 animals, they have one thing in common. They like water. The alligator needs water to survive. Same thing for anacondas. But the jaguar, it don't need water. It's a big cat. But just like another big cats, they are hunters, but they don't go into the jungle for miles and miles or kilometers looking over their prey. They wait close to the water spots where the animals and the prey will need to go to drink water. So they made this kind of trap and wait for the animals. And so as soon as the animal appears, they attack. So I knew that I could not make my shelter aside over the water spots, the water places. So every time I pass through a water source, I just refill the 3 bottles I had with new waters. I used to drink 1 bottle, 1.5 bottles to keep myself hydrated and refill the bottles, put it in my backpack, and continue to walk. So one of the conditions to build my shelter is to be on the top of the hills. I always build my shelter on the top of the hills because of that, because of the predators, and also make fire because of the predators. And actually, one of my biggest concerns over Amazon for my life was the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes is one of the biggest problems you have in Amazon. I was scared to get malaria. I knew that if I got malaria there, I would probably not survive. And that's another reason why I have to make fire every day, because the smoke of the fire, it kind of put away the mosquitoes.
Brezilyalı pilotun zaman zaman yemek bulmakta güçlük çektiği günler de oldu. 3 gün boyunca hiç yemek yemediğini de söylüyor. Bazı meyvelerin zehirli olma olasılığına karşı maymunların yediği meyveleri yiyerek hayatta kaldı, karnını doyurdu.
It was the question number 8. It was the 35th day. I was really weak at those days because I haven't found food for maybe 3 days or something. And it was normal during my walk. Spend 2 days with no food, 3 days with no food, because I basically ate what I found on my way. And this is basically fruits, small fruits that I found in the middle of the jungle. I used to observe the monkeys. If the monkeys ate something, I knew that if the monkey could eat it, I could eat it as well. 3 times I could find eggs from birds on the forest. But anyway, on that day, I was really weak. Those days, I have cramps in any part of my body. Like if I close my hands to hold the kind of bat that I use during my walk, I could not open my hands anymore. I had to force it because I had cramps on my fingers. And if I have to go down to get water or to lace my shoes, when I go up, my vision starts to go blind and I was about to faint. I was so weak. But anyway, I continued walking and walking and walking.
Antonio Senna yürüdü. Günler boyu yürüdü. Ve o gün hayatının en güzel sesi dediği o sesi duydu. Peki o ses neydi?
On that day, I heard, for me now is one of the most beautiful sounds in my life. I could hear a chainsaw far from me. And for the first time in 35 days, I heard a machine built from man. And I knew there is someone far close to myself for the first time. But it was late afternoon, around 4 p.m. I could not walk into the sound because if I tried to do it, I would probably get lost because they can stop using the chainsaw. And also I would not have time enough to prepare shelter, to prepare fire. So I would have to go against all my safety laws that I had created to myself. So I waited for the next day. And on the next day, early in the morning, I could hear them use the chainsaw again. And that gave me hope and strength to continue. I get up early in the morning and start to walk. And I kept walking. It was around 3 p.m. when I finally found something different in the forest. I found a white color far from me, around 70 meters, 50 or 70 meters. The color is not really common in the forest. You don't see the white color there. And I knew that it would be something different. Hold on. I came closer and closer. And when I came closer enough, I I realized that it was a white cover, a white plastic covering something. And I approached myself. I removed the cover, and what I found under it, it was a big, uh, I don't know how to call it in English, but I found the tubes and a lot of Brazilian nut shells, and I could find water and a bottle of water that the collectors use it. There was everything there, and I knew at the moment that I was in an area of nut collectors. And of course, I got excited, but I haven't found anyone. I just found tubes, and I have to look for these people.
Ve hikayenin belki de en mutlu, en heyecanlı yeri. İlk kez bir insanla karşılaşma. Bakalım o karşılaşma nasıl gerçekleşti?
I walk around 20 minutes, and after that, I finally heard one of them working. I could hear one of them trying to open the shell because it's really hard to open the shell of Brazilian nuts. And I start to follow that sound, walking until I finally met one of them. He didn't see me, but I could see him, and I came closer and introduced myself. I said, "Hello, my name is Antonio. I'm a pilot. My plane crashed around 30 days ago, and I'm lost here in the forest," and start to tell all the story. And the guy was like freezing. He was not believing what he was seeing. I think so. Well, and he said, "Okay, and what are we gonna do?" I said, "Please just give me one of these nuts because I'm so hungry."
Bir uçak kazasından kurtulmuşsunuz ve 36 gün boyunca ormanda bir başınıza vahşi hayvanlarla korkarak, mücadele ederek hayatta kalma savaşı vermişsiniz. Ve sonunda bir insanla karşılaşmışsınız. O insana ilkine sorarsınız. Ben Fenerbahçeliyim. Fenerbahçe'nin şampiyon olup olmaması kesinlikle umurumda olmazdı. Ancak Brezilyalı pilot ilk olarak tuttuğu takımın şampiyon olup olmadığını sormuştu.
I was just talking with myself for 36 days. It's even fun because the first thing that I asked for them was who was the Brazilian football champion on that day, on that year, and it was my club, Flamengo. So I was so happy. And well, immediately I met them. I knew I was saved. It was very good, really good to be with another human beings.
Mucize eseri bu kazadan sağ olarak kurtulmuş ve hayatta kalmayı başarmıştı. Kazadan sonra onda belki de bir uçma fobisi oluşabilirdi. Ancak pilot Senna havacılık tutkusunu hiçbir zaman ertelemedi, ötelemedi ve vazgeçmedi. Kazadan sonra bir arkadaşıyla birlikte yine küçük bir uçakla olay yerine kadar ulaştı. Sonrasında fotoğraflar çekti ve o fotoğraflarla kaza araştırma kuruluna yardımcı olabilecek veriler topladı.
Yeah, I already flew again. Actually, I flew a few days after I got rescued to find the aircraft because at the moment no one had found the aircraft. But I had on my cell phone the exactly spot with the GPS location, and it had to be me. I was with a friend, and he had a small aircraft, a Cessna 185, and we went there, and we could find the aircraft and make videos and photos. And I even gave these photos and videos to the Brazilian authorities for the investigation. And this is not a phobia for sure. I believe that most of pilots do it for passion, for love. And no matter what happened, we feel good when we're on the air. That's where we feel good.
Evet, bu hikayenin kahramanı Antonio Senna'nın Türkiye'ye de bir mesajı vardı.
It happened all around the world, but it's very nice to hear from Turkey. And I knew that there is one country which is have a passion for aviation as well. And for what I can say is never give up. never give up over life, never give up of anything on your life, no matter what you're passing through. Uh, just continue, continue fighting. Believe that you live whatever is the force you're passing through, because you can do it. You can do it. That's the message. Okay, that's really nice talking with you, and I hope people enjoy the interview and the story.
Brezilyalı pilot Antonio Senna'nın bu mucize eseri hayatta kaldığı hikayenin kitabı da yazıldı. Kendi dilinde yazdı. Fransızcaya da çevrilecek. Ve belki bakarsınız önümüzdeki dönemde bir filmi de hayata geçirilir. Onunla ilgili de görüşmelerin devam ettiğini biliyoruz. Bu hikayenin kahramanı Antonio Senna'ya bizlerle yaşadıklarını paylaştığı için tekrar teşekkür ediyoruz. Umarız tekrar aynı kazayı ne o ne de herhangi birisi yaşamaz. Onu da bu mücadelesinden dolayı tekrar tebrik ediyorum. Umarım videomu beğenmişsinizdir. Yorum yapmayı, abone olmayı ve bildirimleri açmayı unutmayın. Bir sonraki videomda görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın.
Merhaba, Herden Aviators.